Hi, I'm Clayton Allen, host of the Day Trading Plumber and founder of Allen FX. Well, it's Sunday setup time. So if you don't know, this is where I go through all of the currency pairs that we trade. There's 28 of them. And we look for supply and demand zones to see if there's any good trade setups forming for the week. I post these high level views on my free Signal channel, and then soon I'll be launching a paid Signal channel for those of you that want to do discretionary trades. There'll be a much more in-depth and closer time frame entry points that I'll show on that paid Signal service. So let's jump right in it. Let's see what we got going this week. All right. So as you guys know, I use tradingview.com. So if you haven't done so, get familiar with this site. It's free. Obviously, they have paid subscription levels, but you can get started for free. All right, let's just go from the top down here. So I got Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. So I went ahead and left up our analysis from last week, so we could see what price did last week in the zones that we've drawn. So we can see here last week we kind of identified resistance levels and bullish levels. Excuse me. So as we can see last week, price did come down to our bullish zone, made it all the way to the backside. Great time to buy this pair, and then you would be in great profit, right? This we missed this trade, but you can see where I'm putting these zones. Price is gonna do something. So now the best thing to do with this pair is we're gonna wait for it to come all the way back up into this bearish area. So I'm gonna go ahead and set an alert. Let's just pick price. So I want to see when we're crossing into 0.90423. So crossing 0.90423. All right. So I'm going to put a note in here. We're going to be bearish, looking to sell. So we won't miss this one. Now, I want to be very clear. Those of you following my free signals, I'm showing you where support and resistance, supply and demand zones are on a daily chart. Just because price gets in here doesn't necessarily mean I'm executing the trade. The trades that I put on the free signal service, I'm posting a picture of this setup, but I'm also looking for on a smaller time frame. For instance, let's zoom in on this pair. A smaller time frame, what I'm looking for is a trigger, right? And I like to use the 15-minute time frame for intraday moves. And you can see in this bullish zone last week on this pair, on the 15, you see all these red lines? That's Knoxville divergence indicator. And what I would have been looking for if I took this trade last week is one, for divergence to be posting. We are below RSI, 30 on RSI. And what I typically look for is, you see how price came down to the bottom of this, came up, retested our zone, and then kind of double bottomed here. Well, this double bottom on a smaller time frame, that is when you execute your buy trade. For those of you that were asking me questions last week, if I use smaller time frames, yes. And on my paid signal service that I hope to have live in a week or two, where we're going to take a lot more trades, we're going to use these same supply and demand zones, but on that paid signal service, we're going to be taking a lot more trades, and we're going to be zooming in and identifying closer to exact entry points. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is price to get in this zone on a daily, and then on a smaller time frame I look for confirmation candles or patterns. All right, let's go back to daily. So that's to give you guys a little bit of a snapshot of what I'm doing here. Okay, so we missed this trade. Now let's wait for it to get back up to our bearish zone, and we got our alert. So doesn't mean I'm going to take the trade, just means price got in my zone. Now I'm looking for a reversal or a breakout. If I see a breakout of this bearish zone becomes a bullish zone, and we'll see that on some of these other pairs I have set up. All right, Australian dollar, Swiss franc. All right, you can see this is a little bit different look. So what we have here is price is starting to consolidate, but it's forming a wedge pattern. So when you see price doing this, it basically is telling you the market's it's creating lower highs, lower lows, and it's getting into this wedge. Well, something's gonna happen when we break these lines, and it usually is some sort of explosive move. And why that is institutions, big traders, people putting risk on one of these pairs, they're seeing the same pattern. And once we see a break of one of these levels, it's a high probability it's going to go back down. If you see it break past this wedge, this bottom wedge, that's why I have a bearish here. If we see it break down, it's highly likely it's going to come back down to this support where it bounced twice. If we see it break above this, then we're going to be bullish, and I'm bullish back up to this strong resistance line here. See where prices repeatedly had trouble breaking before. So this is going to be a pair we watch for a breakout of either way. All right, let's go to Australian dollar, Japanese yen. So you can see we identified a bullish zone. Price didn't quite get down there. It kind of broke at the top of this range. So now we're back. It reversed. It came back up into bearish. Now I want to tell you guys, just because it's in our bearish zone does not mean sell it. Now let me show you. Well, it tested this. We're looking for a retest. What we're seeing here is this could possibly be a breakout to the upside. So if we just jump right in because we've identified a bearish zone and throw in a sell trade, we could be in trouble. So this is one where you want to go to a smaller time frame and you want to look for confirmation, right? So we have some strong Knoxville divergence. You see prices kind of slowed down, but it's still in an upward kind of trend here. But we are in our bearish zone. So now what we want to do is we want to wait till we either see a small, even smaller time frame, a 5-minute, a break of that upward trend. So what you could do is you could draw a trend line, and once you see price break past that, that could be a really strong confirmation that your analysis on the daily chart is confirmed and it's time to take the sell trade. Hopefully you guys can see that. And if not, shoot me some questions. Let me know what you guys want to see. Whoa, we got our chart all messed up now. All right. So for the Australian dollar JPY, we are in one of our zones. We're looking for a sell trade. If we see a strong, we never get that sell confirmation and price breaks out above this zone will now become a bearish zone. All right, let's go to Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. All right, well, we put some notes on here. We got some strong Knoxville divergence. We see that price definitely reversed into our bullish zone, and then kind of last week what we see here is it got into our bearish zone. It can't break. Every daily candle that gets into this zone and just can't break it, this bearish zone gets more and more probable. The probabilities of it being correct are getting better and better. So where price is sitting right now is right here. We missed selling this, and now you're kind of getting into no man's land. But I still think it's a good sell. But we'd want to see a break of that daily candle low right there. So, you know, this pair I'm kind of holding in a holding pattern on. Australian dollar, US dollar. All right. So just like the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, we missed taking this trade when it was in this bullish zone. I think this is as low as it got last week. But as you can see, we're getting really close to our bearish zone. So this is one that I'm going to put an alert on. 68672. 68672. We're going to be looking to sell. All right. Boom. So now we just wait for price to get in here. And like I said, we look at a smaller time frame. We look for a pattern we like that confirms that sell, and then we take the trade. Let's look at Canadian dollar, Swiss franc. All right, so last week we identified this bearish zone. I actually do think we took this trade. We just closed it for profit. You know, that's something. It's okay to make money, but sometimes, you know, you had a good call, leave it on. Excuse me. Yeah, leave it on, take more profit. But I believe I closed this for profit in our free channel last week, because if you can see right here, this is kind of a strong support line. So when you have profit on the table, you're reaching one of these zones here. I'll go ahead and draw it in there. You can kind of see price has reversed a few times on this level. So if you got a good profit on the table, you could probably take half your trade off, see if it breaks through and actually comes all the way down here. I mean, but it's never a bad thing to take profit. Excuse me. So, but you can see how 3 days ago price was in our bearish zone. It touched almost exactly on our trend line here. So, or our channel resistance line. And now, you know, if it gets all the way back down here, strong bullish. I'd even be a little bullish if I see some signs right in this area. If you can see where it double bottomed here, and if price gets back here and we see some confirmation, this could be a really strong bullish area. Remember, these are daily charts, so it could take weeks before we're back down here. All right, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. All right, so we can see we have a break in the channel that we've been working with here, right? So what that tells us is when you see this breakout of a you know, resistance line that we've had for quite some time, you have to respect it. Now, it doesn't mean this thing's going to the moon like some traders out there will tell you. What I usually look for on a breakout of a strong resistance or strong support is a pullback, for price to pull back, come down and test this former resistance line. And if it respects it as a new support line, we now become bullish in this area. So where we would normally draw a bearish signal on this channel resistance, it's broke through. I'm looking for it to come back down to retest. If it blows through it, this would be where we're bearish, or right here, or bullish, sorry. And, you know, it just creates a little bit wider channel. But if it comes down, retests, we see on a lower time frame confirmation of bullish behavior, we're going to be bullish in the zone. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go ahead and set alert for right about here for a retest. 82034. 82034. Looking for retest of resistance. All right. Now let's look at Euro AUD. All right. So this pair this pair's just hanging out in no man's land. Obviously on some smaller time frame trades, you could probably look at this pair on a 1 hour, right? And you could see you have a pretty good trend here. It's forming its own channel within our daily channel. So it would be kind of a strongerish buy right now. But you know, that's if you're day trading, you're looking for a move. Or another thing you could look at is on this hourly, if you see a breakout below, it's a pretty highly probable trade as a sell from here down to this level. So hopefully you guys could see that. And, you know, that might be a trade I would take if I was day trading, and something I might take on our paid signal service for those people that are wanting a little bit more action, a little bit more intraday moves. But long term, we're in kind of no man's land until we see a strong break to one of these zones. Euro, Canadian dollar. Okay. So here we have a break of that channel resistance again. So, you know, I know fundamentally this big move on the euro was due to Brexit last week. And I know now Brexit was, I guess, publicized that they had a deal. And then on Saturday, the deal was voted out by Parliament. So it's going to be a pretty rocky road for both the British pound and the euro at the open today and pretty much all week. So I'm staying away from this trade. If anything, I'm going to look for it to come down and retest this former resistance. If it respects it as a new support, this now becomes bullish, and we'll be looking for the euro to continue on its rise. Euro, Swiss franc. Okay, so kind of the same thing. We got this consolidation zone, but we're starting to see we had a higher high than this. So what we could be looking at here is price going to come back down, reverse somewhere above this former low here, and start this uptrend. But right now, where price is sitting, I'm in my bearish zone, so I'm going to be a little bit of sell bias unless I see a break above this line. But as for a profit target, I'm not going all the way down here. I'm going to be looking for somewhere in the middle. Euro, British pound. All right, so last week we saw a strong head and shoulders pattern with a break of the neckline. This is one of my favorite patterns. It's highly probable. It's very trustworthy, and doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it pays out good. And as you can see, we took this trade. We entered right here after this strong bearish candle, break of the neckline. We waited for this little consolidation. We actually, if we zoom in, here would be your smaller time frame confirmation on this pattern. Okay, so here's that strong break on the daily candle. Here's that retest, and if we go to a little bit bigger time frame, there's your breakthrough of the neckline. Now you don't sell it here, you newbies out there. I know you want to, and it's designed to make you really want to because you feel like you're going to miss out. But when you see this break of the neckline, what you're waiting for is a retest. So last week we identified this. We waited for the retest. It almost touched this line again. That would have been the best spot to sell it. But again, your mindset there is if it breaks back through, this was a false breakout. So I waited for this strong bearish move again. And then for a smaller retest, that's why we entered right here. And then, as you can see, it's a profitable trade. And, you know, I believe on my free free trade signal channel last week, when it started getting really choppy right here, and we had Brexit news come out, that's this choppy, I just took profit. Got the risk off the table, took profit, and, you know, we're going to live to see another day and see what happens with it. But you can see this is a pretty good trade. Pretty good setup, bearish, wait for the retest, and bam, you're in. All right. Euro JPY. So you can see we took a trade on this one, and we took a loss last week in our free trade signals. So let's get this out of the way. What we saw, price in our bearish zone. We took a sell trade, probably somewhere in this confirmation where, let's just go to a smaller time frame and just look and see what we were seeing. Yep. So we were in our bearish zone. We see Knoxville divergence. We took a trade. You can see it got in some decent profit, but not too much. Reversed, stopped us out. Right now, if we look on a daily, like we've said before in this video and videos before, now that price broke through this resistance level, we're going to look at a smaller time frame, wait for it to come back down, respect this, called a retest, and then this will become our bearish or bullish zone. Let's just do that. See that, guys? So now price broke through. Now we want to see it come down and get close and retest and respect this. Then this will be bullish. We'll be really bullish here if we see it respect that line. If we see it bust through and come back down in this range, we'd be bearish. All right. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. All right. So, no, sorry, Euro, New Zealand dollar. Now we can see we've been in this consolidation zone. Price has double topped right here. So strong bearish, and you can see if you put a sell trade in there last Wednesday, you'd be in some good profit right now. Now, we missed it. Now we're in this no man's land. But what we could do, if we just really wanted to trade this, you could go, okay, when price if price continues down and respects this level, this would be a decent bearish zone back or bullish back up. Or if it busts through that line, you could sell it down to here. And with the fundamental news on the euro and Brexit, I'm more bearish on this. So what I would look for is a break of this line. I would be bearish all the way down to this zone and possibly below it. If you see it break that, man, it's going all the way down here. Euro, US dollar. Look at this. So we had a break of the trend line last week. We see this dip down. That would have been our bullish buy signal, and it would have been awesome to get in. But we missed it, right? We either had other trades on the table. I believe how I was feeling fundamentally, the euro and the British pound, unless you were already in trades, they weren't. It wasn't a smart play to be getting into them because anything could have happened last week. So what I'm looking for this week is, this is a really strong resistance area, and price, rip roared up. And I know fundamentally the euro is going to take a little bit of a beating. So, you might see price get up in here, but I'm going to look for I'm going to look for an early sell in the week. You got lots of news on the dollar and the euro. So something's going to happen. This big of a move past this former resistance, you got to expect some sort of pullback. So if you time it right, you can make money on that pullback, see if it follows this new uptrend, and switch your bias to bullish. But this week, I'm going to be looking for a strong possibility to sell this pair, take some good profit, and then look for a continuation of this trend. So, British pound, Australian dollar. Again, British pound on Brexit being settled. That's this strong move. And what you can see is it blew through our channel resistance. And you see this retest into this bearish zone. But now this bearish zone is bullish. So you can see where if it right here kind of was having some indecision, boom. That strong bullish move, look for that retest that we had here and buy it, and look at where you'd be today. You'd be in some good profit. But like I said, trading the British pound last week, at least Wednesday on, just gambling. I mean, it was moving. So this week, what I'd look for is possibly a retest, because fundamentally British pound, they did not pass Brexit like the news said they were going to on Friday. So I'm expecting all these bulls that got in early last week, they're going to cut their losses or take their profit, and you're going to see price decline drastically. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that happen, and I'm going to let the drama get over, and then come back to our analysis here and see if we can find some sort of rhythm or flow with all this fundamental noise clouded out of it. Okay, British pound, CAD, same thing. It shot past up, but can we really respect the fact that it shot up? Because it's all based on good news with Brexit that turned out Saturday. They voted down. So we're going to possibly see this whipsaw back down. It very well could come back into this former trading range. So the British pound pairs this week, unless you're already in a trade, it's a holding pattern until we see how this non-Brexit deal is going to affect what pushed it up so great last week. British pound, Swiss franc. Okay, I'm already stuck in L5, 5 trades with Wally on my copy trade account. So I'm already stuck in it. But as you can see, this pair, the British pound, did not take off as drastically as the other British pound pairs. And we actually can start to see prices respecting our bearish zone. Now, what's really hard to do is because I'm already committed to some sell trades. Wally got us in. It's really easy to see something that's not there. So fundamentally, I'm glad Brexit got voted out, so that gives us a strong chance to put in our another 6th rollover trade. But I'm only expecting price at its best to get to this area again before it needs to be bullish. So on my copy trade account, and all of you that are listening to me that copy automatically copy my trades, not just on through the Telegram, this is the plan: is see what the Open does today, see what the London Open excuse me, see what the London Open does tonight, and if we see some strong bearish confirmation, I'm going to enter a 6th rollover trade and try to get us out of the 5 Wally trades and maybe ride price all the way down to this bullish zone. I mean, we've double topped on RSI. There's a lot of indication that this is going to come back down. British pound, JPY again. British pound skyrocketed late last week, and we have a strong bearish area here. You could see price touched it, got burnt. Fundamentally, British pound, like I've said over and over, fundamentally, Brexit did not get passed. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to look for price to come down to retest. If it respects this level, this former resistance, now hopefully new support, we're going to be bullish, and we'll actually look for it to come to break some new highs, possibly all the way up to here. Bottom of these here, it's good area, right? So we could almost just come back up here. Let's make this a little bit wider. And we're going to be bullish on the retest, and we probably won't be bearish again until up here. So I like it. All right. So British pound, again, same thing. But if we look at this, we identified this bearish zone. Price got in here. It's already starting to show some consolidation confirmation. So, you know, with the fundamentally bad news on the British pound, this is a really good sell. Really good sell right now out of the gate. Like you got double top on RSI. If we go to a smaller time frame here, right, you see this double top. Price touched RSI here. You have like another mini double top. Yeah, so I mean, you might wait for this to come up, retest in this area again, and go. Now, obviously, on the open, you're going to have some really big spreads, especially on the British pound. So, all of you new traders out there, you know, 3:30 Mountain Time when the Sydney market opens for Monday, even though it's Sunday here in Denver, doesn't mean as soon as it opens, puts a trade on. Because you're going to have such a big spread. Typically, wait about 4 hours after the market opens, 4 to 5 hours. Let those spreads come back down to normal, and then look for the trade. Now, like I said, I'd be looking for price to get back up somewhere in the middle or a high end of this bearish zone, look at a smaller time frame, execute a sell trade, and you know it's highly probable it's going to come down to retest this zone, may even crash that zone, and then you got a home run trade where if you were able to hold, just like right here, if you were able to hold that sell, boom. Now, you know, that's a course of weeks. But some of you disciplined traders out there, you're in really good profit. If you could outlast this wiggle, they try to bust you off. Another big drop, and then you got to go against you, and then another big drop. More power to you. You have a really good setup right here for that same move to happen. British pound, the cable. All right, so kind of see a pattern here, right? British pound went on a rip roar. Fundamentally, what caused this rip roar turned out to be disappointing. So I'm gonna look for the British pound to take a fundamental drop. But technical, this is a strong bearish area. So the trade I like best on here is let it drop, let it come to retest this line, and then we'd be bullish. So if we see a really good retracement back down to this area, I'd be looking to be bullish on this pair. It's going to be really hard to pick the exact turning point here unless we were already up in this area. But more than likely, fundamental news on this, we're going to see a strong downside. Hopefully, a good retest of this former line. That's where a lot of the bulls will get back into the market, and we'll jump on board with them, and then we'll hopefully take a trade from here all the way up to this bearish zone. Let's look at the New Zealand dollar. So what we can see is happening here is we had a downward trend. We had a break of that trend. We had a retest, but we seem to get in this bearish zone. So price is more than halfway back up. And you can see last week, 3 days ago, we missed this double bottom dip into our bullish zone. Great place to buy, and this would be a great profit target, but we missed it. So now what we're going to look for is price to get in this bearish zone, a smaller time frame confirmation, and then we're going to sell it back down to this bullish zone. Or if we see it break through, this bearish zone now becomes a bullish zone. We'll look for a retest and then go. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc. We have a really nice consolidation pattern here. We're right in the middle. So we're going to look for price to get in our bearish zone, look for a sell, price to get in our bullish zone, look for a buy. New Zealand dollar, same thing on New Zealand dollar JPY. Now, we're pretty much in our bearish zone now. So what we're going to look for is, you can see on Friday, price respected our level. And if we go to a smaller time frame, it's triple topped. So this is a strong sell, right? This would have been an awesome spot to put the sell. Doesn't mean we've missed it. If you ask me, we have lots of Knoxville divergence. We have a triple top. This is one to sell on the open. It probably one I take today, right when the market opens and we get a little bit of calmness on the spreads. But the New Zealand dollar is part of the Sydney Open, so people are going to be trading this. Now, this is going to be one that I mark as I want to be looking at really soon on the open, where I'm going to put my profit target. Let's go to a bigger time frame. And those of you that was asking me questions this week if I use smaller time frames, perfect example of why or what I'm looking for on a smaller time frame, even though I'm not showing it in the Telegram group on the post. But this is how I use this smaller time frame. Let's widen this a little bit so we can see it. Okay, so I'm going to take my stop loss kind of above that last peak, right? See this wick? I don't want to have too tight of a stop loss. One, I'm pretty confident in this trade because I had a triple top on a smaller time frame. But I also don't want to get caught too early with some sporadic moves. So I'll give myself some room on this stop loss, and I'm going to put my profit target back down in this range. Now, this is going to be an amazing trade if it works out. And like I've always preached and taught, just because you've done this analysis, you've followed your rules, you've triple topped on a smaller time frame, which is a very probable reversal, it doesn't mean you could just set this trade and forget it. There will be some management done throughout the week on this trade. As you can see, there's some news. So what we don't want to do is get too greedy, and also we don't want to be too tight with our stop loss. So this is kind of a good lesson in how to manage a trade once you decided you're going to take it or you've entered it. So this one's going to be one we take early on in the free signal service. So be looking for it. Excuse me. All right. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Kind of the same setup, right? We're just not quite there. So I'm going to set alert on this one. 64013. Because we're closer to our bearish. 64013. Yep. Looking to sell. Now, if we're already short the New Zealand dollar JPY like we saw just now, right? We're going to kind of want to be short this pair because they're going to be somewhat correlated. So we're going to be disciplined. We're going to wait for price to get in here. We're going to look for that smaller time frame confirmation just like we saw on the New Zealand dollar JPY. But we also know we're kind of short biased this pair. So that's a really good setup to look for. Maybe not in the open, but maybe Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening, we'll be there. Okay, let's look at the US dollar pairs. All right, so I'm a little mad at myself because last week we saw this double top in our bearish zone and we did not take this trade. And as you can see, last week we would have been, let's see, this Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So price was already in this area. So it was in middle of no man's land. But the week prior, we could have took this trade and it would have been a really good, amazing trade. However, now what we see is we see a break of this line. Now it's not too big of a break, so we have to be cautious of a false breakout. Now what I'm going to guess is price is going to come back up, retest, and then we're going to be bearish. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of this bullish zone until, and now I'm bearish on a retest. I'm bearish on a retest, but we have to be really cautious that we're not forming this to come back up and form a downward trend. So if we see a confirmation on a smaller time frame of a retest of this former support, now new resistance, it will be bearish. Hopefully you guys can see that. And now let's look at the US dollar Swiss franc. All right, look at this break of a trend. Solid break. Again, I'm looking for a retest, and then I'm bearish down to this level. So what we're going to be looking for is a retest back up to this zone. I mean, that is a strong break. So if we see price get back up into this area, a really good thing I use is the Fibonacci. So if price starts to consolidate here, comes back up, retests this 0.68 or 0.50, we have ourselves a really probable retest, retracement, good entry point for a sell trade down to this level. So we'll go ahead and leave that up. So be looking for that, you guys, in the free signals this week. USJPY. Okay. So on my copy trade account, I'm in some sell trades. Wally took some sell trades on this huge spike up. So we're in a little bit of a scenario on the copy trade where we got some heavy drawdown in this pair. But late last week or midweek, we identified this area. We're back in bearish, but because of the decent sized positions we are in, I am not taking a fourth rollover trade on it quite yet till I see what today's open and early week. Got lots of news on the Japanese yen and the dollar this week. More than likely price will get into this bullish area, and you know, we're at a strong turnaround point. So if I see a break down there, I might take a sixth or a fourth trade and trade it back down this bullish area and try to get out of that pair. All right, so that pretty much wraps up today's Sunday setups. If you guys have anything you want me to cover, other more analysis, shoot me some comments either on YouTube, shoot me an email at dtpshow@allenfx.com, throw me a message on Telegram. I want to know what you guys want to see. And like I said, hopefully this week I get my paid signal service. So those of you that want to do a lot more discretionary trades, day trading strategies, join that Telegram group. I'll send out an announcement. It's going to be probably $20 a month, but you're going to get the exact trades that I'm taking, the setups on smaller time frames, and you're going to get all of them. All right, that wraps it up. We'll see you on the other side.